Hiya chaps, I'm just going to ramble on. I've got the Jedi Y-Wing on the bench. I'm just going to do a little bit of rust staining, aging on it. I'm just mixing up some very watery light earth. This is an Archive X colour, and I am doing rust staining. But you might cry, well, that's not rust. Well, yeah, it's far from rust, but what it is a lovely tone that will give that effect, as opposed to using the stark orange of rust. So this is a real, slap and dash approach I'm going to be doing here. It's very simple, very, very thin mix of AX to isopropyl and water. Decent sized brush, and not thinking too much about it, I'm going to start putting some very liberal dabs of this thin mixture on this engine can. Now there isn't much reference on this model. What I'm doing now is I'm just dabbing all the excess off with a cotton bud, just rolling it, smudging it. And when you think, well, wouldn't you rather just use rust? No. And the reason I won't use rust is, as I said, it's just too stark, it's too orange. Rust is used where it's needed. Certain effects are just too stark for rust. But that's just a quick and dirty pass. It's still not dried, but when that's dried, that'll have a really, really nice rust effect in there. That just works nicely. As I said, everyone's mileage varies with what hues they want to use, but rust is very stark. I mean, if we look at the top of this engine can, you can see that's a previous application of light earth. It's very subtle, very dusty, very aged, but it just works. It's just very simple, and it leaves, when it's dried, it leaves these wonderful rusty, earthy hues in the very crevices of the detail, which is it's a nice hue. So yeah, just a tip, if you're ever stuck on weathering and you want to put some different tones as opposed to some of the starkness of rust or even orange. I mean, some of the ILM props were actually, I believe, weathered with reefer orange. I mean, the ATAT for one, that, in my opinion, and opinions vary, is definitely weathered in places with reefer orange. Just my opinion. But you can see there, that's so bleh, it's a blob of bleh, but we're going to dab it all away. And the joy with this is it's not harmful to your model. If you mess it up, you can retouch it. you can remove it. It's easily removed. You can literally wash all that away with, you know, primarily water really, while it's still very loose. You could literally use a paintbrush and brush all that away, so it's not so evident. Obviously that becomes harder when you're using lacquers and enamels, but using the waterborne paints, it's really simple. And I am literally just winging it here. You know, I've picked out the tones on the model and I've saturated the images. Saturating the images really helps sometimes. If you want to find an area on the model that might contain hues or colours that you cannot see in the original, as you're looking at the original JPEG or Polaroid or anything like that, you know, you can go into your photo settings, and if you oversaturate, I mean like saturate the crap out of the model, and you'll see hues popping out in areas where you couldn't really see it before. It's a useful little tool to, you know, put into your arsenal, you know, if you're ever wondering. I mean, I've got the Merlin Models ATST. I've got both the ATSTs, Ethan and Justin kindly sent to me, and I have got those to paint very soon. And I've been doing that process on a lot of the reference of the Jedi Walker, just so I can try and get the tones right. I mean, not, you know, none of us are perfect. You know, we cannot get this stuff perfect. It's nigh on impossible. Some people like using what are the Archive X paints, which are derived from vintage flow quill hues, not you know, recent flow quill hues, but yeah, the actual vintage hues. And others don't buy into it. They prefer to use their Tamiya's, their Mr. Hobbies, etc., etc. That's cool. Everyone can get the same kind of finished article with whatever they're using without getting into some weird territory of arguments. And I'm literally going to just wrap this up under here. I'm not going to go overboard. I'm just going to put some rust stain here, and these will all be applied over again with the airbrush, so she's not quite there yet. But you want to be dabbing the majority of this away. Don't let tons of it pool anywhere. All you want to really do is just leave a very faint stain. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, looks slightly hoopty, wait for it to dry. Always, anything like this, wait for it to fully dry. I'm hoping this will pop up in the camera now, but if you look at that now, sorry, the lighting here is terrible, but I'm hoping you can see a faint rusty aged effect in there. So yeah, there's that. Real simple, real straightforward. You don't need an airbrush, you don't need any insane modelling skills, just literally a little bit of waterborne paint, a little bit of thinners. I use a bit of water even. Any of that, it just, I'm going to put some more there actually. It just works. You know, it's very simple, and you can come up with some just nice effects. And don't be afraid to experiment with colour. You know, this was just literally me looking at some reference and deciding, okay, the ILM painter has definitely added some rust there. but it's not rust. You know, it's a different colour. Even zooming into the hue and all that kind of malarkey, it was definitely not rust, and I decided on light earth. Earth is also another really good one for this kind of effect. It's just obviously darker, a little browner, but it really does work. So earth, light earth, weathering starship models, you'd never have thunk it, but yeah, you know, it works. I mean, this thing now, it's just got to be touched up in various areas. Some of the spattering, I was having airbrush issues on the day I was doing some of the work on this, so some of the spattering needs to be cleaned up, and this will be going onto its stand and into my display cabinet, because I'm going to keep this one for myself. Yeah, so as I'm rambling, something of a soapbox, if you will, today. There was a rather strange post on a fairly popular modelling Facebook group yesterday, or over the past couple of days, and the post, the original poster of the post, couldn't think of the word then, yeah, it was a little bit weird, you know, it was a little bit, I'd even say it just disturbed me a little. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the camera so you can just have a look at this. Yeah, a little bit disturbing, to be honest. But anyway, let's get into it. The post itself was primarily directed at people asking for donor kit IDs, identifications. That was a little funky thing I've got on this. I've got the butt plate separate because it's got a rear mounting. I actually put the rear mounting in on this one. Some of us like to mount it from the rear as I drop the gun. But anyway, let's get into it. Yeah, this post was directed at a person asking for kit IDs for an upcoming release, new model, what have you. And this person has his own company, if you will. You know, that they produce models for the masses, so to speak, or as amassed as we studio scale guys are. And apparently this request for some info was met with a little bit of needle, which I found disturbing. I actually responded to the request, the post, because I knew the kit ID. Initially I thought it was from a Ferrari T4, but yeah, straight away then I'm like, no, I know what that's from. It's from the Renault RE20, and it's used on the Return of the Jedi A-Wing. RE20, easy to find kit. It's been around for a few years now, so it's not exactly like NSA, need to know knowledge. It's nothing that is going to reset the stock market value on it or anything in knowing it. But I chimed him to that, and I, you know, gave the info across, and then this post appeared where a very popular author of the Facebook group actually stated that there was some disdain for companies asking for kit IDs. Well, I'm guessing to feather their own nests. And that's really weird. That's really weird. I've actually got my my swatch there for some later weathering tests for the ROTJ ATST. So that's my base colour. I'm going to start doing some staining, and I'm just going to see what starts to work over this from the reference. But yeah, anyway, yeah, there was some kind of needle there with this request, and the post was basically, if you're a company, you're not allowed to ask for kit IDs, which that's kind of weird. I mean, some of these kit producers and even finished model producers at the moment are doing great things for the Star Wars community. They're producing things that haven't been produced before, or haven't been produced well enough to warrant even thinking about buying it. I mean, some resin kits that have been available even in the past few years have been absolute bloody junk. You know, I would not urinate on them if they were in flames. It's just literally just, you know, what simpleton actually thought that was a good idea to send out in the post to a customer that's paid, you know, a decent amount of money for. So yeah, there's that, you know. So you know, it's filling a hole, it's filling a void, and I get licensees. You know, let's say it's started on licensees. You know, if it is a license thing, then back off. Just out of respect, initially, you know, whoever owns or pays for that license, back off it, man. You know, you don't need to be treading those waters, because people have put a lot of money and effort into that. As garage kit people, as kit builders ourselves, we always want to strive to do that a little bit better than some of the licensees. You know, yeah, some of us achieve that, some of us don't. You know, again, it's all subjective. But yeah, this post was very. I really took it to heart. It was like, wow, this is somebody who has come into the hobby pretty green, you know, still pretty new into the hobby. And there's nothing wrong with that. We love newcomers. That's awesome. You know, I was totally green in this some years ago. We've got to start somewhere, you know. And you start by learning. You start by learning the lay of the land. You start learning, you know, certain etiquettes. What's a faux pas to ask for, or you know, anything like that. Yeah, you know, it's just respect. But this post, yeah, was locked. So anyone with any knowledge of the situation couldn't comment to it anyway. You know, it was just it was posted, and then comments were locked on it. No comments could be added, or constructive conversation. You know, not just getting on your high horse and mouthing off about it, but no constructive input. It was just locked. And this is coming from a person that, just in my opinion, and I'm not out to make enemies here, really, I am not, and I don't wish any ill will on the OP. It's just literally my opinion, you know, and sometimes opinions get us all into trouble, don't they? But this is just my opinion. This is a person that has done very well out of coming into the hobby and being afforded a great deal of information that's very, very, very hard sought after, just by association. And that's myself, many other people. You know, many other people have helped this person out, you know. And for that to become a bone of contention with someone asking for information, regardless of it being a kit producer or somebody just scratch building it, that really smarts a bit. That's really strange. You know, talking to the OP, that's direct me now. That's pretty rich, mate. You know, you've done well. You know, kit IDing isn't easy. That's why a good number of us are very, very guarded in the subject. I'm not anymore. If you want to know something, I'll bloody tell you. If it's something really sensitive and it's not my information, then no, sorry, I can't. I mean, it just comes to the recent. I've mentioned this a few times, but the new findings on the ESB chicken walker from Jason and Craig and the guys. Oh, what an awesome thing to share. You know, we worked on that bloody walker for some years. Quite a few just better men than me worked on that, researching it. And yeah, the new information was just revelationary. It was just like, wow. Yeah. And that was shared freely by a person that I don't really get along with. You know, I'll admit that. We have our differences. But he shared that information and it was blooming awesome of him. And it even got a model kit company, Merlin Models, to actually reproduce the parts on the body of said model to make it more accurate. Isn't that a good thing? You know. So yeah, I'm just a bit lost really. Someone who's been afforded a lot of information, been welcomed into the community, has got a massive following now. Some absolutely wonderful, wonderful people, you know, on the Facebook group, and doing some amazing things. The OP that I'm talking about, he's done amazing things. He's a nice guy. But yeah, this post it was a little bit dark. A little bit dark. I mean, there's a new product that wants to be released. I mean, the model in question, whoops, is actually a studio scale A-wing. Now, the studio scale A-wing has never been done. It's been done once in studio scale, but badly. The kit itself was absolute, just not good, because it was never designed to be a resin cast kit. So I don't see that as a bad thing, to be wanting to make a product that people on the same Facebook page, excuse me, would probably buy into because they don't wish to scratch build a studio scale A-wing, which is a massive task. You know, you've got to have a plethora of advanced modelling techniques to build a studio A-wing from the ground up. But yeah, this will probably get me into hot water. You know, my mouth normally does, because people, they either don't like the truth or they just don't agree with me. I don't know, but I just don't agree with trying to gatekeep info like that. It just seems that there's just something very strange going on there, when I thought it was a Facebook group all about sharing, regardless if you're a kit manufacturer or not. It's just all about sharing. And the fact it got me a little bit rubbed the wrong ways, because I gave the information to this person asking for it, and then fast forward a few hours, there's a post up mentioning how said person was wrong to be asking that. So ergo, am I wrong for giving that information when it's my information? You know, we've there's so many projects that are built on this Facebook group these days that we as a collective ID'd many years ago, you know, many years ago. And yeah, it's not new information. It's not any one person's information. It takes a village. You know, in anything we do, it takes a village. So I think it's a little bit lost on that one, guys. But anyway, I've rambled on for far too long. I hope these little things helped. I plan on trying to do some more like this soon. Obviously with the Death Star Tower, which I've started to get into primer now. It's just into its basic primer coat. But yeah, thanks for listening. I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. It's not meant in a venomous nasty way. It's just, let's all rein ourselves in a little bit. We're all here for the same purpose. We're all here to have fun, and whether you're a kit producer or not, it shouldn't matter. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you all soon.